new highs in Merck, new highs in Pfizer. They've been consistently new high list throughout the day, along with a bunch of retail. I'll show you that in a minute. But a good start to the day, 2-1, advancing to the declining stocks. Global markets doing a little better. Take a look at the global markets. Finally, a bounce in China. Shanghai's, 2-year lows last week. Japan's kind of right in the middle of the range right now. The DAX over in Germany, an awful month for Europe in general, but they're bouncing a little bit. Brazil, all of Latin America was down for the month, all the emerging markets, but some modest moves to the upside. As you can see here in the U.S., remember how awful the Chinese internet stocks were last week? They're bouncing modestly, a little bit less risk off. Metal stocks, second line there, they had a horrible week. They're doing a little bit better. Overall. Spider Retail, that's been a consistent market leader right there. Utilities were strong last week, a little less defensive tame, and there's a little bit of worrisome. The semis are not bouncing at all. That's been a big issue. The overall story is still the U.S. is the place to be. Our outperformance was very noticeable on the month, even last week. The S&P was up fractionally. The world outside of the United States was down. Emerging markets were down. Frontier markets were down. It doesn't matter. This is my whole point. The U.S. outperformance is really what matters. And it's the rotation story that really matters in the United States, because as stuff weakens, so semis were weak last week, we had consumer staples strong, we had REITs strong, we had utilities. Okay, people tend to ignore them, but they tend to prop the market up when other sectors are weak. Even industrials had a fairly good week overall. So this rotation is why we're only 17 points from the S&P 500, even when some of the big tech names falter. I mentioned the retail names. We've had a tremendous outperformance in the last month or so. So we have new highs on a lot of retail names. Really, some pharma names and retail are the new high list. Nordstrom, O'Reilly, Costco, Dollar General. These are all at least 52-week highs. If you want to look at how we are overall, the market internals, what I look at most carefully is advanced decline stocks, because the advanced decline list tends to go down a few months before the market tops out. We're at new highs, essentially. I don't see any deterioration in that list. The buying power, way to look at it, stocks advancing with the volume and the points gained, that's buying power, and selling pressure is the opposite. Stocks declining with the volume and the points gained. And this is an old Lowry trick that they've been using for 80 years. Buying power is in an uptrend, selling pressure still is in a downtrend. When you have this kind of market overall, it's hard to say there's any kind of imminent downturn. You want to watch that rotation, and the advanced decline line still at new highs. Sitting right near the highs for the day, Dow's up 91 points, 17 points from a new high on the S&P 500.